Lyman Eagles Volleyball is live only on mylocalradio.com. Eagles Volleyball is in session for another action-packed fall season.
I'm gonna hunt you down. Yeah, I ain't playing around. I'ma take your crown. Man, better run, gonna hunt you down.
Carrying you straight through the year and into the state tournament in November. MyLocalRadio.com is here to bring you live video coverage of Lyman Eagles sports. With the opening serve quickly approaching, let's join Jake Hibbard, voice of the Eagles, in the My Local Radio broadcast booth for pregame coverage.
I'm gonna hunt you down. Yeah, I ain't playing around. I'ma take your crown. Man, better run, gonna hunt you down.
Welcome back to the Cokeville Invitational, where we are getting set for another round of volleyball action. The Bear Lake Bears versus the Lyman Eagles. Match number 2 of the Lyman season. After losing 3 sets to none to Star Valley, the pressure of going perfect is off. Obviously, that's not going to happen this year, but one game does not a season make. So when we come back, we will start getting you set for Game 2 of pool play. Game 2 of 3 for the Lyman Eagles, with Campbell County capping off the game and sets and matches tonight, trying to earn a spot into tomorrow's gold bracket. Jake Hibbard joining you on mylocalradio.com, and we'll be back with pregame coverage next on this first presentation of Eagles Volleyball.
Members of Trona Valley Federal Credit Union feel confident that our staff has your best interest in mind, confident that we acknowledge your financial needs, confident that we are always working hard to provide the best rates, best products, and the best service the industry can offer, and confident that we will always work with you to help achieve your financial goals. Join Trona Valley Federal Credit Union today. TronaValley.com, member NCUA.
Business cards are a powerful and inexpensive way to promote the goods and services you offer. You can design your own cards or have the professionals at Westar Printing design your business cards. Now with same-day and next-day turnaround on all business card printing, you don't have to wait. Get your business cards today. Professional quality, inexpensive prices, and quick turnaround. Visit Westar Printing, 243 7th Street in Evanston, across from the library. Westar Printing, 307-789-5202.
When you have any mechanical problems, always think of Reese Auto Service in Lyman first. Doug and the mechanics at Reese Auto Service work on everything from your lawnmower and snowblower to cars, trucks, farm and ranch equipment, and semis. You can also get tires for anything you need at Reese Auto Service. Always visit Reese first. You'll get great pricing and quality-friendly service. Reese Auto Service, 541 Highway 413, Lyman.
Welcome back to the Cokeville Invitational, where we are setting up for the Bear Lake Bears to take on the Lyman Eagles. Take a quick look around the starters for both teams. Running through Lyman starters again for a second time today. At outside hitter, we have Mandy Ayer and Bryce Hansen, a senior and a sophomore, wearing number 4 and number 10. Number 15, Kendall Dickerson, is a middle hitter, as is number 22, Madison Harris, a sophomore in Dickerson, and Harris a senior. Brooklyn Walker is a junior setter, wears number 13, and Sierra Heaton is a right side hitter, wears number 12, and a senior. Raven Heaton is not playing today. She's injured as a libero, so she's out. Charles C. Rose, though, who wore number 8 as a DS in the third set as a sophomore and did see some time in that position for a set. Now let's hear from Dale Anderson, and the head coach of the Lyman Eagles football program, playing in a 0-week game at 2 o'clock today against Rollins. And hear from him as I talked with him on Tuesday, getting set for that season.
I've got Dale Anderson with me, Lyman football head coach. We talked to you last week as you were just getting practice started up. You've had a little bit of time now getting ready for 0 week. Where do you feel at with this program?
Well, as always, you're ready to go play somebody, and so you can evaluate kids a little further and even scheme a little bit sometimes. So it's always nice when you get to week 2 and you get to go play a game and kind of see where you're at.
Did you learn anything about your team over the first week?
Yeah, we need to get in a little better shape. And, yeah, you just little things here and there. You know, we had the core group of them went to camp with us this summer, so we kind of knew what we were getting. But, you know, it's always nice to get out and start preparing for a game a little bit and specifically. And, you know, we picked up a couple other kids that didn't go to camp, so it's always nice to get a couple extra kids out.
What's the plan for 0 week?
I just treat it like a game, you know, and that's the thing last year we played them, we did a scrimmage, and I didn't know if it helped as much because you don't approach it differently. You know, as coaches and players, so I think, you know, playing a game this week, you always hope nobody gets hurt in a non-conference game, but you go play and figure some things out along the way.
So you're looking at, you joke with me that you're like, I don't know, we go too deep, we got 23 guys, but you're running the ones out there and you'll mix some guys in there as a camp, but no different than just a regular game.
No, we'll just treat it like a regular game. You know, we're going to try to put, you know, we have to experiment with some kids in some spots. It's probably different than what we do in a conference game, but we need to know kind of what kids can and can't do and put some of them in some uncomfortable situations probably and see how they respond so we know when we get to the games that are, you know, the conference games that matter, then we can know what to do with them.
Obviously, if you say you get a win in a game, that's not going to count in the standings. That's a good thing, but what would you like to get out of that first week?
You know, number one, you want to come out healthy. You always want to come out of that game, you know, with your kids feeling good about it. But you also want to just work on some specific things, offensively, defensively. You know, and then just get some kids experience. Like you say, we're really young up front, and the anytime they can get out and play, the valuable experience, and that's what we need to learn and grow there too.
At the pro level, it seems like nobody on the outside is a fan of preseason games, but for you as a coach and the players, what does it allow you to be able to do?
I just go out and play. You know, camp was fun, but it's kind of limited scrimmage time, and then you're almost 2 weeks into it now. Kids like to go out and they get tired of hitting each other and kind of banging around with each other. They want to go see somebody different and, you know, quit hitting their friends.
This is Dale Anderson, Lyman head coach. We'll be back with you next week when we're getting ready for that real week 1. Well, good luck in your 0 week, and let's come out healthy.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you to Dale Anderson, as we got a little audio craziness going on as I got hit by a volleyball. So I think that unplugged some things and plugged them back in. I think we're all fine now. But we are just about set to begin this contest. We'll take one break and be right back with your first set, Bear Lake versus Lyman, on this First Bank presentation of Eagles Volleyball on mylocalradio.com.
We hope you're enjoying this mylocalradio.com exclusive broadcast of Bridger Valley Sports. We love being able to travel around the state to bring the action on the field or court back to you watching at home. Let's face it, doing all of this would not be possible without all of our great sponsors. We appreciate the support the following businesses and individuals show to both Mountain View and Lyman Sports. Bradshaw's Glass Towing and Fitness. Whatever it is you need, Bradshaw's can probably help. The Come On In of Casper. When it comes time to cheer on your Buffs or Eagles at state, the Come On In is your best bet for a great night's stay. Auto Farm Chevrolet in Evanston. General Manager Dennis Lynch invites you to come and experience a community-driven dealership. Evanston Regional Hospital. Quality healthcare close to home. Bridger Valley Motor. Got a check engine light blinking? Don't guess at what the problem is. Take it to Slim at Bridger Valley Motor in Lyman. And Achieve Sports Medicine and Physical Therapy. No excuses, just results. Thank you to all of our Bridger Valley sports sponsors.
Both teams set to play, as I should probably give you a rundown of who's who. The Lyman team, both blue and white, of Bear Lake and Lyman. The Lyman team is the one in the white jerseys, dark blue numerals, and blue striping across the sides. Bear Lake in the gray uniforms with a blue bear in the back, white numerals, and blue sleeves with white numerals and lettering down the sides of the sleeves. Opening up for the serve is Bear Lake as we get this first set underway, and it is a service error out of bounds for Bear Lake. The libero Elizabeth McDowell leads things off. goes on to Lyman's side, and one service error. He gets another. Lyman's Brooklyn Walker starts it off, and she serves it out of bounds as well. So we're at 1-1 on the scoreboard here, set number 1, and another serving error, this time by Eliza Sharp. So 3 tries, and a 4th one gets it in. That one by Bryce Hansen. Serving inbounds, and an attack down the right side. Bounces off the tape and falls down onto Bear Lake's side. 2-1 the score on the board. 2-1 Bear Lake leading Lyman. Mandy Air with the first touch, and nobody there for a second. Sierra Heaton, I think, was coming up to try and make a play on it, but never quite got there. 3-1. On to Haley Humphreys, the outside hitter. And on to Lyman's side, they bump it over. Sharp with the first touch. To the middle attack, and off the blocking hands of Lyman, Chelsea Gunderson with a kill. 4-1 Bear Lake, looming large so far. Serve back to Haley Humphreys. Picked up by Air. Back set to the right side. Dickerson all alone cross quarter, but just out of bounds. And 5-2 the score. I missed a point for Lyman somewhere along the line. Sharp continues her serving run, though. Madison Harris with the first touch to the middle. Heaton tips it over a pair of blockers. Picked up, though, Kalisha Parker with the pickup and the attack on the Lyman side. Heaton bumps it over but cannot toe the antenna. 6-2 Bear Lake on top. Lyman lost their first contest in 3 sets, and after a slow start, head coach Brescia Hansen does not want to allow a similar fate to fall upon her Eagles, so she calls an early timeout. 6-2 on the scoreboard here on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on mylocalradio.com.
Serving Wyoming since 1941, Plains Tire is Wyoming's oldest and largest tire dealer with great locations throughout the state. They'll get you the right tires and offer the best results for your vehicle at the lowest prices, guaranteed. Plus, you can go to any Plains Tire Pro dealer with their nationwide warranty service. And check out their Plains Tire phone app.
Come down and see us at Plains Tires on 157 Bear River Drive for all your automotive needs. Hablamos también español.
Back at the Cokeville Invitational, and welcome in as Bear Lake amidst a 6-2 lead. Mandy Air gets a line shot, then a tip. Kill down on the first opportunity. Finally a point on and out of the break for Lyman. 6-3 the score. Don't think we ever gave you your Bear Lake starters as they put 5 minutes on the clock after the JV contest ended, and everything turned around pretty quickly. An ace serve by Kendall Dickerson. And Lyman with back-to-back points straight out of the break makes it 6-4. Outside hitters, number 5, Haley Humphreys, and number 30, Kalisha Parker. Middle blockers, Chelsea Gunderman and Lydia Johnson, 32 and 28 respectively. Set up outside, and a pushover by Parker. Picked up on the Lyman defense. Air is blocked, but no, she goes off the arms of Jimmy Lloyd, the setter for Bear Lake. And we have a mini run for Lyman, 6-5 on the board. Jimmy Lloyd, as just mentioned, is the setter for this contest for Bear Lake, and Eliza Sharp in the 5-1 formation is the right side hitter. Libero Elizabeth McDowell, and I'm told that there can be 3 DS/serving specialists, Shaylin Passy, Bailey Armstrong, and Savannah Flake. A serve, Bryce Hansen, or excuse me, Kendall Dickerson. Ties it up for Lyman. So 4 straight points out of the break. Push up by Bear Lake outside, and Parker touches it. Good backline defense by Lyman. Tipped by Mandy Air, and Lyman's got a run and the lead back on. So whatever was said over the break is apparently working, and maybe it was just settling the team down, reeling off of a big loss of Star Valley, a very experienced team, to start the day and season for Lyman. Outside, try Parker again, goes long and out of bounds. The run continues for Lyman, and it looks just as much as Bear Lake had everything working early on. Lyman has taken control at the midway point of this set. 14 points scored. Outside attack and back-to-back airs by Kalisha Parker. No touch. The Lake Bear goes out, and here we have a timeout by Bear Lake. 9-6 the score, and a 7-point run for Lyman out of the timeout. We'll be right back in 30 seconds on this First Bank presentation of Eagles Volleyball on MyLocalRadio.com.
Your mobility affects every aspect of your life. When you suffer from an injury that decreases your mobility, or maybe you're just noticing that you're having a harder time balancing and your flexibility isn't what it used to be, call Randy Christofferson at Achieve Sports Medicine. Randy will work with you to improve your overall health by reducing pain and improving mobility. Schedule your appointment today by calling 307-747-4627. Achieve Sports Medicine in Lyman. No excuses, just results.
7-point run in tow for Lyman as we welcome you back to the Cokeville Invitational. Jake Hibbard here on MyLocalRadio.com, and Kendall Dickerson continuing an extended serving run. Bump up to the right side. Gunderson from the right of the net. Attacks cross court, picked up by Lyman, and the response is hit by Mandy Air for a kill. 10-6 on the Impact Physical Therapy board. 4-point advantage in the 8-point run. Still moving. Dickerson, a good tough serve. Set up to the middle and just about to no one. Gunderson gets a bump on it on the Bear Lake side, but it doesn't not get over the net. Lyman in control with a 7-point advantage. 9-point run. Dickerson to make it double digits. Serves it over outside on the attack. Parker goes over 2 blockers. Good backline middle response by Bryce Hansen, and then the attack by Air. It's double digits, folks. 12-6 on the board. A 10-point run for Lyman. Dickerson still on that run. Near ace, returned over the net. Push up to the middle. Harris gets a good attack past the block. Set up to the middle. No, it's a dump over. Diving down to the ground. Heaton makes a play on it. It was Dickerson getting that play, and then a kill by Bryce Hansen from the back line. 13-6 on the scoreboard, and a 7-point lead for Lyman. Hold up now, the scoreboard has not been updated. That's not just a frozen scoreboard, which we've had happen a few times today. That scoreboard never updated. May it be a replay? Either way, now it says 13-6 after Lyman gets a point on Dickerson with the serve over, and finally the run ends, but not before 11 points are scored in a row for Lyman, and a 6-2 deficit becomes a 13-7 advantage. We do see Charles C. Rose in the back line as a DS. Where's number 3 in the JV, and an attack by Mandy Air. She's got it working. Kill for Lyman. Saw her wearing number 3 in the JV game, but different jerseys. So she has to switch over, and she becomes number 8 at the varsity level. That's why I did not have her last game. Just had her JV number. Served by Sierra Heaton of Lyman. Set up and a dump over. Heaton with the first touch up. Walker to the middle. Harris gets blocked. Back onto Lyman's side. Harris bumps it over. Good opportunity for Bear Lake to get something working themselves. Shoot to the outside, Kalisha Parker. Back middle to Bryce Hansen. She tries to push it up, but it goes behind her back, and it's 14-8. Serving for Bear Lake is Jimmy Lloyd, the setter. To the middle, Air tips over 2 blockers. Just pushed over Parker to Hansen on Lyman's side. Outside Air for Lyman. Hits it into the net. And a couple points in a row for Bear Lake. We've got a game. A few runs by either side. This one unforced errors by Lyman, though, getting Bear Lake a couple of points. Hansen a high touch up. Walker shoots to the outside. Harris goes high and out of bounds. Make it 3 errors in a row by Lyman to make it 14-10. Line up and send it over for Jimmy Lloyd of Bear Lake outside to Harris. Attack back middle, and then the response is by Bear Lake on the outside. Kalisha Parker with the kill, 14-11. Lloyd with an extending serving run of her own. She goes straight middle, flat-footed attack on the serve over to the middle. On Lyman's side, the attack is pushed up, and Mandy Ayers shoots it out of bounds down from our vantage point, the left sideline. 14-12. A gigantic run in response of the 12 points by Lyman. Bear Lake within 2 points. Back set to the right side, and a kill by Eliza Sharp, the junior for Bear Lake. 1 point contest, 14-13 on the board. Served by Lloyd. She's been there a while. Mandy wants it at the middle. Instead, it goes outside to Harris. She's blocked down by Sharp. Tied ball game, 14 all on the board. Okay, we had 6-2, and at which point Lyman called a timeout, made it 13-6, and since then it's been all Bear Lake. They are on a tear. Outside to Kalisha. She winds up back middle. If it's inbounds, it's good, but it's just beyond. So point back to Lyman as they take a 1 point advantage. Had the 11-point run by Lyman. And then that was followed up by, 7-14, a 7-point run by Bear Lake. Attack at the middle, and Parker netted it. Harris was there with an attempt to get a block up too, but it was not needed. 2 point advantage for Lyman. They have the serve. It's Mandy Air back there. Puts Bryce Hansen in her first swings up at the outside position. Parker struggling to find it. They're trying to set her up high to the 2 in the middle spot, but she's gone back-to-back out of bounds. 17-14 on the board. Air serves again to McDowell, the libero. Right side, Sharp pushes it over 2 blockers. Dump set by Walker. Nearly a kill. Hansen tries outside to Sharp, cross it, and it goes way out of bounds. May have even hit that exit sign. Near the doors by the Bear Lake bench. 17-15 on the board. Serve back to Bear Lake. Parker in the back line serving it over. Hansen with the first attack up for Lyman, and it's a first opportunity kill. Went into the donut hole, and a diving Kalisha Parker could not make the save. 18-15 on the board. 3 point advantage for Lyman. Subs in Kendall Dickerson. She replaces Charlesy Rose. Harris serving the opposing middle of Dickerson. Outside, big setup and down the line, but just out of bounds. Haley Humphreys sends it out, but a touch ruled on Lyman. So take it back and give the point to Bear Lake. 18-16 on the board. McDowell serving for Lyman. Lofts it just over. Hansen with the first touch up to the middle. Hansen over 1 blocker, but Gunderson is there and puts it back onto Lyman's side. Try it again. Hansen off the hands of Gunderson, and a kill as it goes out of bounds. 19-16. Lyman leading Bear Lake. Line drive serve returned over the net on 1 hit. Back to Lyman, to Hansen on a big high set outside. She sends it right into the hands of Gunderson, and it's 20-16 on the board. Timeout number 2. We've had as many timeouts in this first set as we had all last contest of Lyman versus Star Valley. We'll be right back after a 30-second break on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on MyLocalRadio.com.
The best place to stay when you're in Casper, Wyoming is the Come On In Hotel and Suites. This beautiful log hotel offers 5 hot tubs, 1 pool, a fitness center, and fabulous indoor atrium. Offering jacuzzi and fireplace suites, the guest rooms are comfortable and relaxing. Plus, every stay includes a delicious extended continental breakfast. Whenever you're in Casper, stay at the best place. Come On In Hotel and Suites. Come on in today. Come On In Hotel and Suites, Casper.
as we welcome you back. 20-16 on the board, and a serve out of bounds makes it 20-17. Puts Bear Lake in control of the serve, down by 3 points. Green River and is that Alta? No, that's Grace setting up to do battle on the court to the right of us in a little bit. Walker back sets to Hansen. Big cross quarter arm by the sophomore. Hits older brother of Chelsea Gunderson, Ryan Gunderson, watching on in the stands. He has to put his hands up to avoid getting hit in the face. Power attack by Bryce Hansen. And it's a 4-point lead for Lyman. 4 points to go for a set 1 victory. Would be their first of the season. Not quite yet. Hansen dives on an attack, trying to push up a return, and it's 21-18. Bear Lake ball. The serve to Humphreys. Haley slaps it over. First touch, Hansen. Walker sets up to Air with the left hand. She goes off the body of Gunderson, but gets blocked down on her side. And Bear Lake, as this has been as back and forth of a set as we've seen. Of course, it's a very new season, but we've had a few runs by both teams. Not dying yet. A lift called on Sierra Heaton. 1 point contest. Bear Lake crawled within 1, and we have exhausted all of the timeouts. Both teams have taken 2 now. Back in 30 seconds to play it out the rest of the way. 21 points for Lyman, 20 for Bear Lake on this First Bank presentation of Eagles Volleyball on MyLocalRadio.com.
It's human nature to think the grass is always greener on the other side of the fence. That's not always true, especially when it comes to buying vehicles. This is Dennis Lynch, General Manager at Auto Farm Chevrolet. Dealerships pay the same price for new vehicles across America. The fact is, the best deals are right here, in your own backyard. The difference is that our employees are your neighbors, people you can trust. Please visit us first, Auto Farm Chevrolet. We are your community-driven dealer.
Haley Humphreys with a serve for Bear Lake coming out of the break, down 1 point to Lyman. 21-20. Serve receive over the net by Hansen. Gunderson sends it down. A little two-hand tap. We're all knotted up at 21 apiece on the board. One more run was in store for Bear Lake, so the final 4 points will decide this set, presumably. Walker shoots outside to Air. She has to adjust on the set. Ends up with a two-handed push-up to the middle. Gunderson is blocked by Dickerson. Stays up on the Bear Lake side, though. The libero gets a backline attack, and it's legal. Walker back to Air. She beats the block and cross-court down for the point. To Lyman, 22-21. A quicker set by Walker there allowed Air to get up into the air and beat the 2 blockers of Bear Lake. Gives Lyman a 1 point advantage in the serve over. 3 bumps and over for Bear Lake. This is the sort of situation Lyman needs to take advantage of. The setup to Air, and they, not quite yet. Gunderson gets a little desperation tip over onto Bear Lake's side. The setup to Gunderson on the left net. It's a touch. Point, Bear Lake, 22 all. It certainly came close to a Mandy Air finesse kill, but Gunderson just put her arm down and popped it up into the air. Win over the net onto Lyman's side. Sometimes volleyball, it's a game of runs. It's a game also of survive and advance to the next play. Mandy Air with a high 2-set to the middle, demolishes the defense, 23-22. Looking down the line, it appears Chelsea Gunderson is a brand new auntie. A newborn baby in the arms of her older brother there. Serve to Lyman. High pop up. And Parker, no chance of a attack, just returns it over the net. Walker to the outside, Air, one-on-one, single a coverage attack. It's deflected, stays up for Bear Lake. Parker, two-hand push. Air with the return over the net, and a slap down by Parker gives Bear Lake a deuce tie, 23 all on the board. Serve over for Jimmy Lloyd. On the Lyman side, Walker to the middle, air, triple coverage. She's shunned, rejected, and sent down, and it is set point number 1 for Bear Lake. Wow, air had all 3 defenders converge. And not much of a chance there. Walker back sets to air again. She has to back up on the attack, and it's blocked down for the point win. Lydia Johnson ends it, and Bear Lake takes a 25-23 victory after the first set. On to set number 2 here in a little bit on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on MyLocalRadio.com. The Wyoming Prep Podcast on the radio is back for another year with a bit of a twist. Join me, Jake Hibbard, as I transition from covering Evanston and becoming the voice of the Mountain View Buffs and Lyman Eagles. I'll be live every Wednesday at 10:30 a.m. with news, analysis, and guests as we focus on the Bridger Valley and beyond. We'll cover the happenings around the area and across the state landscape. We would also like to welcome onto the show as a regular this year, Dennis Lynch of Auto Farm Chevrolet. Join us every Wednesday on KNY and 99.1 FM in the Evanston listening area for the Wyoming Prep Podcast on the radio. If you can't catch it then, don't worry. We'll post all the episodes up to MyLocalRadio.com, or you can also find it by searching and subscribing to the Wyoming Prep Podcast on iTunes or Google Play. The Wyoming Prep Podcast on the radio, presented by Auto Farm Chevrolet, every Wednesday, August through March on KNYN 99.1 FM in Evanston, or online anytime at MyLocalRadio.com, or of course at the Wyoming Prep Podcast on wherever you get your podcasts. The Wyoming Prep Podcast on the radio. Come join in on the fun.
Bye-bye. Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
When you have any mechanical problems, always think of Reese Auto Service in Lyman first. Doug and the mechanics at Reese Auto Service work on everything from your lawnmower and snowblower to cars, trucks, farm and ranch equipment, and semis. You can also get tires for anything you need at Reese Auto Service. Always visit Reese first. You'll get great pricing and quality-friendly service. Reese Auto Service, 541 Highway 413, Lyman.
Set number 2 beginning momentarily as teams have switched side. Lyman on the near side of the net and setting up to serve is the setter, Brooklyn Walker. Dickerson at middle and Bryce Hansen over on the right side. She'll move to outside as we'll have Sierra Heaton, the right side hitter. Up in the front line as well, Mandy Ayer and Madison Harris playing back line along with Walker to start off the set. Looking over on the Bear Lake side, the serve receive middle is Jimmy Lloyd, the setter, and left back where they go is McDowell, the libero. A shot is up in the outside. It's Humphreys on the first attack through double coverage. A punch over by Walker and a whistle blown on the other side, so we're still playing. Good attack at the middle. Lydia Johnson got the final point of the first set, and she gets the first of the second, 1-0 on the board for Bear Lake. McDowell, the server. On to Lyman's side, and Lyman's been a bit of a struggle today to get an attack up. They're still working on getting those balls in system, I guess you could say. Gunderson goes off the arms of Dickerson. A little beside herself after that play, and it's 2-0. Bear Lake, well, they got the momentum as they came in. They made the last run and ended up winning 25-23. It looked like Lyman was going to come away with a victory, and when they were up 20-16, of course, they were down 6-2 as well. So it's been a game of runs, and Bear Lake made the most recent one and currently on one as well, 3-0. Now the challenge for Lyman is after losing a very close first set to Star Valley, each set, the second and third after that, became a little bit farther and farther away. Outside attack by Hansen, out of bounds, and Lyman still looking for their first point of the second set, down 4-0. Well, here we see it. How does the momentum, how does that affect this Lyman team? If they can come close in a victory, but then just narrowly have it escape from their fingertips in the first set, much like they did against Star Valley, like how it just happened against Bear Lake. Can they recover? And that's something that may come with time, but we'd love to see something right here. Bear Lake, in the meantime, has all cylinders firing. Gunderson with a stuff block down on Hansen makes it 5-0. McDowell still on the serve. Send over. Mandy Air with the first return. Sierra Heaton can't get a set attack up, and we are at 6-0. Maybe time for a old whistle blow and a timeout by Coach Hansen. Looking down to the line, she's letting it ride for the moment, making some notes on her clipboard. Jump serve by McDowell is over. Air with the bump over, and it falls in space between Walker and Hansen and Dickerson. Walker did not make the run on it. We're at 7-0. Everything's compiling at the moment. Let's serve over. Ace! 8-0. McDowell serves into the net, and that ends the run for Bear Lake. 8 straight points to begin the second set. Well, remember, Lyman was down 6-2 last set and was able to climb back and come away with a sizable lead before ultimately losing it. See if they can do something similar here. Gunderson goes down the line and finds that little white tape to be just inbounds on a big middle attack. Puts Eliza Sharp on the serve for Bear Lake. Bear Lake now on the far side of the net. Lyman in the whites on the near side. Walker back set to Dickerson. Good cross-court attack, and the first earned point for Lyman of the set is a good one on a cross-quarter by Dickerson. Deflected hard off the serve receive, off the return defense of Bear Lake, and Dickerson goes back to serve. It is out of bounds. 10-2 the score on the board. Coach Hansen continues to make marks on her white sheet attached to the clipboard, but as of now letting her team try to play through this one. Walker to the outside. Harris is blocked. Gunderson tees off. It's out of bounds. Point Lyman. 10-3. Sierra Heaton with the serve for Lyman. Returned by McDowell. Set up high. And a big attack by Parker. Returned high near the rafters. Stays away from him. Third bump is over by Hansen. On to the Bear Lake side. A perfect set and a dump over into the donut hole. Diving to make the play is Charlesy, but it's into the net, and there is no chance. The ball is down, and it's 11-3. Hanging heads all the way around on the Lyman side. Of course, how could you not with giving up 8 straight points to begin the second set. To the middle, Air goes against double coverage and sends it out of bounds. Looks like they're doing their best to stay positive despite the continued follies in this second set. Hoping at any time they can turn it on and go on a run. Air beats the coverage, punches it over. Maybe a time there to go for the power attack instead. Outside, and Parker back middle. Hansen with the return up. Air trying to toe the line, a two-hand push over. Keeps it on the right side of the antenna. Parker with the return attack for Bear Lake. Pops off the top of the hands of Walker and down for a kill. 13-3 on the board. We had 4 timeouts in the first set. 16 points have been scored, 13 of them for Bear Lake, but in the second set, but yet we still do not have a timeout in the second set. So I think Coach Hansen trying a few different strategies early on in the season, this time wanting to see how her team responds is my guess. A hand and then a lift up. Mandy Air had hands on the block, but then the ball continued to sail down from the middle attack, and we're at 14-3. Serve over by Bailey Armstrong, the DS for Bear Lake. Flat-footed attack with the left hand by Air. To the outside is Parker for Bear Lake, out of bounds, and point back to Lyman. Down by 10 points, 14-4 the score. Whistle blown by the down official for substitution. Gunderson is out for Bear Lake, as is Bailey Armstrong, the server. Back in the libero McDowell. On Lyman's side, Walker to the outside. The sophomore Hansen gets a big attack, deflects on the hands of the block, and then goes back middle and in rolling to the back bleachers. Point Lyman 14-5. Ayers serves over, return high up. Well, Humphreys on the first return. Parker tips it over the block, and she tooled the block there. 15-5. Walker for Lyman has the setup to the outside. Hansen is blocked. Pushed back over by Rose and onto Bear Lake's side. Backline attack by McDowell, rolling backward. Air with the second touch. Bump over the net onto Bear Lake's side by Harris. Setup at the middle. To the outside, the attack goes to Parker. Two blockers go up. It gets bounced off the tape. Return fire, a Statue of Liberty push over by Hansen. Still staying up. Bear Lake returns over to Lyman's side. A dump set by Walker is picked up. That on the return by the opposing setter, Jimmy Lloyd. Then a roll shot and a powerful one at that. Down by Parker. Lyman bumps it over. That was Air on the return over. Dump set, Lloyd to Air. On to the attack for Lyman. Back middle and a great return, but it goes over the net. Just keeping it alive. We've got our longest rally of the set or of the match so far. Lyman will get the point after Kalisha Parker hits the tape on an attack attempt, and it's 15-6. Puts Madison Harris back to serve, but we have a timeout. Bear Lake calls the first timeout of the set. We will return in 30 seconds on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on MyLocalRadio.com.
Light up your world with a custom-built LED sign from Rocky Mountain Sign in Evanston. It's a proven fact that signage that lights up creates more attention. So light it up and then add text, images, and video, and your sign becomes even more powerful. Start sharing your advertising messages and information with your customers today. The team at Rocky Mountain Sign provides all types of quality signage that is custom-built and maintained. Call today for a free quote. Rocky Mountain Sign, 307-789-5202. Rocky Mountain Sign, serving customers in Wyoming, Utah, and Idaho.
Back at the Cokeville Invitational, where teams are sitting in a full timeout, 1 minute break, 15-6 the score on the board. Lyman coming off of a much needed point, but they'll need a whole lot more. They trailed by 4, and that seemed like a big deficit in the first set. Now if they could come back from down 9, that would be doubling that up and then some, although they did have a run of 11 points last set, and maybe a little bit after this timeout of momentum working Lyman's way. Interesting call for the timeout there to come first by Bear Lake. The serve over on Lyman's side over to Bear Lake. A tee off for a Bryce Hansen line shot down, and 2 points in a row for Lyman. 15-7 the score. Harris with the serve again. First return goes to Lloyd to the middle. Kalisha Parker is blocked. That was Hansen on the block. Stays alive though. Back set to nobody. Heaton goes around, gets a bump over. Eliza Sharp touches it over the net. Bryce Hansen with the kill. 15-8, 3 points in a row for Lyman. Back-to-back kills by Hansen on balls that get kind of left up in no man's land. High setup to Parker, goes over to and goes to the left of two blockers. Heaton to Harris and just over on a third bump. Return is a flat-footed one just over by Eliza Sharp. Back to the outside. It's Hansen through two blockers. Found the seam herself. And it's 15-9. Big shot there by Bryce Hansen. 3 points in a row by the sophomore outside. Served by Harris is over to Bear Lake. Over the net. Mandier. And a slide attack by Dickerson to confuse the block, but Jimmy Lloyd was just there. Mandier followed it all the way to what she thought was out of bounds, but then it dropped firmly inbounds. So the point ends up with Bear Lake, 16-9 on the board. A good run for Lyman ends, and they find themselves still down by 7. Hansen with the return up and gets the first attack for the Eagles. Out of bounds, though. Trying to open up and find the corner. No touch as Hansen is appealing for. And the point will stay with Bear Lake, 17-9. Served by Parker, an ace. Mandier went diving in the middle of the court. And it was really where nobody had a good chance at grabbing it. 18-9 on the board. Parker serves again. This one returned by Hansen. The outside is Dickerson getting it off the hands of Sharp. Sharp will set up. Over to Humphreys on the outside. She's blocked. It's been a little bit of a tough row to hoe for Brooklyn Walker at the right side blocking position, but she gets one to make it up, and you can see the elation and relief after the block. 18-10. Lyman has entered double digits in the set. Walker with the serve over. A good one sends McDowell down to the ground. Walker punches it up after the attack by Humphreys. Hansen gets the roll shot over into the donut hole. 1, 2, and a third bump. Excuse me, that was a deflection, so a third hit over by Humphreys. Back to Lyman's side. Hansen gets a big windup. She got a lot of power. There was a touch. Even though it goes out of bounds, there was a touch. So the point to Lyman, 18-11. Hansen, a high energy player, and working on some great momentum in her final rotation up into the front line. Sharp bumps outside to Humphreys. It hit the antenna. And no call. Lyman gets the point regardless. But it hit the antenna. So I think it's Lyman's point either way, but the line judge coming down to signal that it had hit the antenna. Wait, what? So the point goes to Bear Lake. And now there's another line judge up official conference. They're missing the fact that the ball of Bear Lake hit the antenna, and now it was okay. The line judge was saying the other way. The point goes back to Lyman, and that is correct. It's 18-12. After all of that confusion. Big windup, and she found it. The hole, I thought, but it's out of bounds. Wow, what a great attack there. That goes for naught. Who was that on the play there? It was Lydia Johnson. I swear that dropped in. I don't have the best vantage point, though. Humphreys is blocked by Heaton. On the Lyman side, Walker sets up to Hansen. Cross, sharp one, and a kill for Bryce Hansen. She's trying to take over this second set. 18-14 the score, and a second timeout called by Bear Lake. A 4-point advantage for Bear Lake, but Lyman threatening, knocking on the door. This a game to try and stay alive for gold bracket play tomorrow on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Eagle Volleyball on mylocalradio.com.
The best place to stay when you're in Casper, Wyoming is the Come On In Hotel and Suites. This beautiful log hotel offers 5 hot tubs, 1 pool, a fitness center, and fabulous indoor atrium. Offering jacuzzi and fireplace suites, the guest rooms are comfortable and relaxing. Plus, every stay includes a delicious extended continental breakfast. Whenever you're in Casper, stay at the best place. Come On In Hotel and Suites. Come on in today. Come On In Hotel and Suites, Casper.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
A quick move out of the break gets Bear Lake a point back to make it 19-14 on the Impact Physical Therapy board as we welcome back to the Cokeville Invitational. Lyman trying to get a point back. Dickerson is rejected by Eliza Sharp. And it's 20-14 of timeout by Bear Lake, which they have used both of their timeouts in both sets. Lyman still with both of theirs in the second after taking 2 in the first set. Cross-court attack by Hansen. She's been so hot this second set. but sends it out of bounds there. 21-14, and the momentum of Lyman is gone. McDowell with the serve up. Walker sets to the right side. Heaton backs up on it. Cross quarter picked up. Sharp with the second touch, and Gunderson back in, deflected, but stays down off the hands of Dickerson. 22-14. the score. McDowell serves for Bear Lake on a gigantic 4-point run. Hansen punches it over. Stays up for Bear Lake. Back set to Sharp. There's no block, but Hansen comes out of nowhere to get a rejection. Sharp sends it back onto Lyman's side. Back set by Dickerson over to Bear Lake. Gunderson winds up. Deflected off the body of Hansen. Wait for a touch or a call. Anything. It's a point to Bear Lake. Net touch called there. 23-14. And an ace puts us at set point number 1. Again, the appearance of momentum and then disappearing again. Mountain View was back into this contest at 18-14, but has not scored for the last 6 points. Outside attack, Hansen is out, no touch, and the set 2 ends 25-14 on a run of 7 consecutive points for Bear Lake. 25-14, again the final on the board. We'll be back with set 3 action next on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on mylocalradio.com.
We hope you're enjoying this mylocalradio.com exclusive broadcast of Bridger Valley Sports. We love being able to travel around the state to bring the action on the field or court back to you watching at home. Let's face it, doing all of this would not be possible without all of our great sponsors. We appreciate the support the following businesses and individuals show to both Mountain View and Lyman Sports. Dr. McKay Frankham, quality dental care at affordable prices. Yeager's Auto Body. For nearly 45 years, Yeager's Auto Body in Green River has been at the top of the game in auto repair. Westar Printing in Evanston. No matter what you want printed, Westar is where you want it done. Reese Auto Service. From lawnmowers and snowblowers to cars, trucks, and semis, Reese Auto Service in Lyman does it all. Trona Valley Credit Union, member NCUA. Plains Tire in Evanston, Wyoming's oldest and largest tire dealer. Thank you to all of our Bridger Valley sports sponsors.
As one of the region's most visited websites, mylocalradio.com is here to serve you. Catch up on local and regional news and information. Buy, sell, or trade your good used items on the radio classifieds. Stream your favorite music all day, every day, or catch our live coverage of your high school teams in action, all on mylocalradio.com. Like us on Facebook so you never miss a giveaway, and visit mylocalradio.com today to stream it all live.
Super kids deserve super care. Experience the difference with board-certified pediatricians Alan Brown, MD, and Bird Gilmartin, MD, at Uinta Medical Group. Whether it's tracking your child's overall health at Well Child Checks or helping your little ones feel better when they're sick, Dr. Brown and Dr. Gilmartin are here to help your child grow, learn, and thrive. Schedule an appointment with Dr. Brown or Dr. Gilmartin by calling 307-789-WELL 9355 or visit evanstonanytime.com.
Set 3. Forthcoming in just a little bit. Bear Lake already out and ready to go. Chelsea Gunderson and Eliza Sharp up at the net. Being joined by Haley Humphreys and Jimmy Sharp. Or excuse me, by Jimmy, not Sharp, Jimmy Lloyd. Also, Kalisha Parker and the libero, Elizabeth McDowell. They're on the near side in the dark blue for Lyman. On the far side, down 2-0. The serve goes over to Mandy Air in the back middle position. Brooklyn Walker, the setter, goes to Bryce Hansen at the middle position. It's blocked. Stay back to Lyman. Kendall Dickerson finds them over the head donut hole. She bumped it over blindly, but it was the perfect position. And Lyman starts off with the first point of the third set, down 2-0. Hey, I'm not going to say the whole better to be lucky than good line there. That was a heads-up play by Dickerson to get it over and in, and sometimes when you do what you can, good things happen. Chelsea Gunderson blocks off the hands of Dickerson to get the point back for Bear Lake. Eliza Sharp with the serve for Bear Lake. Over to Lyman. Mandy Air with the return up. Walker receives a perfect pass and sets up to Hansen. Bounces it off the tape, and we have a kill. A great return to a great set and a good attack. 3 plays and a first opportunity kill for Lyman. A little bit of life being shown by the Eagles. Gotta like what you're seeing early on in the third set. Humphreys to the left of the antenna, keeps it inbounds. And a shanked return by Hansen evens it up at 2. Haley Humphreys the server for Bear Lake. Mandy Ayers the returner on about 90% of serve receives. Sharp cross attempted by Dickerson, but she goes into the net. 3-2 and Bear Lake with the lead. Serve back to Humphreys. Pops it over to Dickerson on the return. It's close to the net. Returned on the second by Walker. A big tee-off by Gunderson. Not sure how tall she is, but somewhere north of 6 foot. Playing at the middle blocker position. She's an athlete. No question about it, and gets another kill there, 4-2. Her brother, Ryan Gunderson, former Bear Lake Bear himself, sat at about 6'8", 6'9". Chelsea's not that tall, but towering above everyone else on the court today. 4-3 the score after a deep push by Lyman stays in. Serve over for the Eagles onto Bear Lake side. Back set to Gunderson. Shoots it through a big seam in the block. Air and Harris didn't close there. Talking it over, it's 5-3. Gunderson, an opportunist too. She gets a big swing and it doesn't take her long to create that power. Out of the contest is Chelsea Gunderson. Replaced in the serving spot by Bailey Armstrong. Tied on the net, Brooklyn Walker gets a good back set over to Air and down for a kill. Skied up with her left hand and just tipped it down, 5-4. Lyman staying tight with Bear Lake in the third set, down 2-0. Gunderson was out for the serve, now back in to play back line. Or no, excuse me. She's in and then back out, and then they get McDowell, the libero, in just to keep the substitutions in. I was going to say that's interesting to put Gunderson in the back line. Haven't seen her play back row all contest long. Big outside hit attack by Kalisha Parker is returned by Lyman, but bumped out of bounds over by Charles C. Rose. 6-4 the score. Walker sends it over onto Lyman's serve receive side. Mandy Air with the middle attack. On to Bear Lakeside. A good slap over by Johnson. Returned by the Eagles. Mandy this time on the outside. She's blocked down. But the Eagles persevere. And now called out of bounds on, I must have been an antenna touch by somebody. Probably Air there. Gives the point to Bear Lake. It's a shame because we had one heck of a rally moving. 3-point disadvantage for Lyman in their second contest of the day. A return over, but into the net by Air, and an ace serve for Bear Lake. Lyman fighting with Bear Lake for a chance to stay alive in gold bracket competition. If you lose this, you're not necessarily still dead, but it's going to be tough. Another knockout of bounds on Lyman, 9-4. The top two from the three brackets automatically get into the gold bracket. We have a replay with a ball falling into the court. And then after that, there's two at-large bids. You never want to be into that at-large bid. You'll take it if you can get it. However, if they do not make the gold bracket, they will play in the auxiliary gym tomorrow in a pair of matches back-to-back. Joust at center court between Mandy Air and Eliza Sharp, won by the Bear Lake Bear, Eliza, to make it 10-4. Jimmy Lloyd, the setter for Bear Lake, sends it over, a flat-footed serve to Air. Single coverage block. Sharp cross picked up by McDowell. We have a ball onto the court again. That forces another replay. 10-4 the score. Bear Lake leading 2-0 and leading this set by 6. Walker tries a slide to Harris on a bump set over, but nothing worked there. Make it 11-4. Well, I think 2 matches in, we can see that this tournament is a fact-finding mission for the Lyman Lady Eagles, trying to figure out exactly where they stand against a couple of competition, getting their first hits at varsity competition. Kill by Mandy Air makes it 11-5. And then go from there. You've got a long season. You got a couple months after this. I've seen teams win the Cokeville Invitational and then go on to do nothing the rest of the season. I've seen teams basically lose out in the pool play and then have great seasons nonetheless. So this is what it is. Sometimes if you're already there, like maybe Lyman was a year ago, good attack by Bryce Hansen off the hands of Johnson. Gets another point back for the Eagles to make it 11-6. Last year's team, when Mountain View and Lyman played each other, yeah, both those teams were there. This time, both Mountain View and Lyman are returning nobody from that team, basically. You got a couple of girls with a little bit of experience from the Mountain View volleyball side, and then for Lyman, it's a complete switch. Roll shot by Hansen, stays up on Bear Lake side, back set to Sharp. A roll past the block, down up off the donut hole. Lyman staying alive, deep corner push by Hansen, punch by McDowell on Bear Lake. To the attack, Kalisha Parker, a diving save by Air, but no one's there for the second hit. 12-6. Back to what we were talking about, though. Hey, back to the drawing board. You lose that first match. If you lose this one, you're probably playing silver bracket competition tomorrow. Guess what? That's more looks. That's more reps out on a real court. You're not practicing against anyone. They're playing for keeps right now. But the good thing is it's all preseason play. Got a kill by Madison Harris on the right side. She tipped it off the block and did a nice job going off the right shoulder. That's not shoulder. That'd be a wrist, not a shoulder. Wow, I'm off there. Right wrist of Haley Humphreys. To the middle, Lydia Johnson is stuffed blocked by Kendall Dickerson. You see right there, you got some nice things working from this Lyman team. It's been a matter of putting them together in stretches. That's not quite there yet, but you can always work on that. Hansen to Walker on the setup to the middle. Dickerson with a little power attack down, picked up by Parker. Tied on the net and over the line. Haley Humphreys called for the dangerous play. Make it 12-9 and Lyman's within 3 points. Timeout taken by Bear Lake, I believe. Still up by 3, but momentum swinging toward Lyman's favor. We'll be back in 30 seconds on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on mylocalradio.com.
It's important to feel like you belong. At Trona Valley Federal Credit Union, we understand the value of connection. When you become a member, you join our family. You become an owner of a not-for-profit financial organization, and your success becomes our success. We give back to our members by offering lower loan rates, fewer fees, higher yields, and more products and services. Become a member of Trona Valley Federal Credit Union today, and let's work together to reach your financial goals. We're a caring partner here for you. Member NCUA.
Both teams still in the huddle as we welcome you back to the Cokeville Invitational Set 3 action of Bear Lake and Lyman. The Bears of Bear Lake with a 2-0 advantage and up 12-9, but they're the ones taking the timeout. And that's because they're on the wrong side of a little run by Lyman. Had to take a break there. Got hit by a volleyball. That happens at Cokeville. Tip over by Dickerson, almost found the donut hole, returned over back to Lyman's side. Down by 3. Hansen with the attack. Make it down by 2. A good sharp cross by Bryce Hansen. She's got good height out there as a sophomore. She's got a good vertical, a good swinging arm. And if she can go sharp cross with consistency, that is about as tough of a defender. That's about a defender's nightmare. You don't see that too much in Wyoming volleyball. I can count on maybe one hand the amount of girls who I've seen dominate with that sharp cross throughout my last 7 years covering the sport here in the state. 12-10 the score after a point goes back to Bear Lake. It becomes 13-10. Maddie Vinich at the top of that list of Kelly Walsh of the Sharp Cross Dominators. Good power serve. Jump up by McDowell. Sets up for Lyman to Dickerson. She's blocked and a return over the net and out of bounds by Hansen. 2-point run by Bear Lake. Served by McDowell. Returned by Air. Bumped by Dickerson. Back to Bear Lake side. To Gunderson. Back into the contest. She's blocked by Dickerson. And that's the first time today, or this set I should say, that we've seen Gunderson get blocked. She had a great start to the set. She's been on the bench for a while, though, as Bear Lake went on a bit of a run and then got caught in a rotation. 14-11 the score. Tee off and a joust at the net, won by, waiting for the call, I believe it's Lyman, but I'm waiting for anything official. It is Bear Lake, maybe called for over the net. We have a new player in for Lyman. And again, I do not have a jersey number for her because I think she's a JV player. Do you know who number 14 is for Lyman? See if we can find that out shortly. Serve for Lyman is Bryce Hansen, 15-12 the score. Emma Nelson, thank you very much. So Emma Nelson getting a run in the front line. And a tight contest, down 2-0, and this is the time when you can mess around with the lineup a little bit. Caught in the net. Excuse me. Sent down apparently. 16-12 back to Bear Lake. I thought we had a bear in the net. Returned by Air over the net, and Gunderson tips it down. 17-12. Serve to Humphreys for Bear Lake, serving on the near side of the net. Lofts it over Hansen. To Walker on the second touch, and a third bump by Mandy. Air gets over. Set up for Lloyd, high and outside to Parker. Diving save by Hansen, keeps Lyman alive. Dickerson at the middle, punches it over a couple of blockers. To the middle, Gunderson to terminate. Finds the right wrist of Dickerson, and it's down 18-12 on the board. And a timeout taken by Lyman. A 6-point disadvantage for the Eagles on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on MyLocalRadio.com.
If you want your truck to really catch the eye, have the professionals at Plains Tire in Evanston install a custom lift kit with new tires and wheels. We've got a huge selection to choose from, so no matter what your style is, we've got the tires and wheels to make you smile. The way your truck looks reflects on you. Get the reflection you want with a lift kit, new tires, and wheels from Plains Tire in Evanston, the tire professionals. 157 Bear River Drive. Stop in today.
Well, it's definitely getting on to the afternoon here at the Cokeville Invitational. We're at 5 p.m. on MyLocalRadio.com, and during that timeout, one of the Bear Lake assistant coaches was using her clipboard to just create a fan, trying to cool down some of these players. And it's a hallmark of the Cokeville invite. There's usually a few fans coming from all the corners. Let me tell you, especially when it gets crowded in here, it does not work. It's a hot gymnasium when it's 90 degrees outside or however warm it is. It's probably at least in the 80s today. Pretty good day, but serve out of bounds. As we come out of the timeout, gives the point and serve back to Lyman. It's Dickerson with it. Back set and over the net. Dickerson with the touch up. Harris to Air. Corner push back onto Bear Lake side. Lloyd to the middle. Gunderson winds up, goes off the block of Nelson. Air with the return attempt. Off the hands of Gunderson. Stays up though. Need to bump it over on the third, and Bear Lake does. Back to Lyman. Outside, it's Air. Tips it over two blockers. Catches Gunderson in the air. And a point back-to-back for Lyman. Makes it 18-14 on the board. Serve into the net by Dickerson, and that point given right back, 19-14. Running out of opportunities here, down sets 1 and 2. 19-14 the score. Bear Lake 6 away from a match winner. Maybe you can hear over on the side of Grace Grizzlies getting ready to take on Green River. The court to the right of us in a separate pool. Mandier, a sharp cross. It is deflected up off the hands of Parker, and then a point for Lyman on the subsequent knockdown. 19-14, 19-15 the score should be, I believe. It says 19-14 at the moment. We've seen some points get added a little bit late, and there it gets added as we have that serve go over. Point back to Bear Lake. 20-15. Serve over. Outside for Air on the Lyman side. She's deflected. It was touched, so they get to try it again. Air, a sharp cross again. It's her second kill in a row on the sharp cross on as many attacks by Mandy. 20-16 on the board. So Lyman trying to get that run back. They had a long in this match of 11 points in a row scored. They have yet to take a set in this tournament, though. Mandier sets up to Walker to the middle. Harris with a double block is sent back down. Sharp and Johnson in on that one. Tried again, this time to Dickerson. 4 hits called. 21-16. Bear Lake down to 4 points needed. Just after 5 p.m., we have 2 more matches with 2 JVs in the meantime scheduled on this court today. 3 bumps and over from Lyman back to Bear Lake. Eliza Sharp sets up on the right side. Hansen called for, no, it's not Hansen called for over the net. Eliza Sharp called into the net. 21-17. So it was Bear Lake getting caught in the webbing. Madison Harris serves over, received by Bear Lake. And Humphreys, looks like she has brain freeze after that hit. It went about halfway up the net. She's just looking around like, I don't know what happened. Let's not talk about it. 21-18 should be the score. See, waiting for it to get added on. It has not as of yet. At the middle, Johnson sends it out of bounds on Bear Lake side. It's back-to-back points for for Lyman. Only one of them has been added, though. It should be 21-19. Wait and see if that score gets corrected. Timeout taken. We'll be back in 30. The conclusion of this match, or of this set, I should say, when we return on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on MyLocalRadio.com.
No matter what you need to have printed, Westar Printing is the place you want to have it done. Calendars, letterhead, envelopes, brochures, books, posters, vinyl banners, business forms, announcements, wedding invitations, and business cards are just a few examples. You can also have your favorite family photos printed on canvas or placed into a personalized family photo calendar. You will want to do business with Westar Printing. Stop in today. Westar Printing, 243 7th Street in Evanston.
21-18, still the score. I have 21-19, but I'm not keeping score. That was a point missed to be added on by Lyman. So they should be down 2. Instead, they're down 3. On Lyman's side, Bryce Hansen winds up off the block. A double team, no good against the sophomore. And 21-19. Madison Harris, the server for Lyman. Rolls it end over end. Sharp on the setup. Back line, McDowell into the net, trying to set up the libero, and I don't think they were trying necessarily as much as the set just kind of went off. Should be knotted up. Instead, Lyman needs one more point to tie here. 21-20. Send over. Sharp sets again, this time a dump. To Walker for Lyman to set up to Hansen. She smacks it off the head of Humphreys. and we're knotted at 21. Bryce Hansen, hello, welcome to varsity. That's a power attack. Served by Harris, back to Bear Lake. Sharp bump sets to Humphreys. She sends it out of bounds. Lead is Lyman's. They have not led in the 20s all match long. Harris serves again over. Sharp punches it on to Lyman's side. Survive and advance, says Lyman, and a punch and the same thing over by Sharp. Back to Lyman. Hansen winds up, goes past two blockers. McDowell with a return. Humphreys dump sets it over. Hands on by Dickerson, but it falls cleanly onto the floor. 22-22. Jump serve over by McDowell. Hansen with the first touch up. Walker to the middle. Hansen goes again off the body this time of McDowell. Lead is Lyman's. 23-22. Hey, we said they needed one run. We've liked a lot of things we've seen out of this team today. They just haven't been able to put it together in sustained runs. They need 2 more points here to get their first set of the 2019 season. Chelsea Gunderson pushes it over. Hansen gets the return. And now the attack on a shoot over. Left-handed punch. Gunderson versus Anderson, and Hansen rather. And it's won by Gunderson. Check it. No, it's won by Hansen. She knocked it off of Gunderson. My eyes deceived me. It is the first of the 2019 season, set point number 1 for the Lyman Eagles. Gunderson attacks from the middle. It is in, and the set continues. 24-23 on the board. Eliza Sharp serving on a deuce attempt. Set point number 2 for Lyman. Hansen backs up on the set. It's a bad return, but Bear Lake gets an attack on it by Gunderson. It's a weak one. Back to Walker. Try Hansen again. She's had the hot hand, but stuff blocked down by Gunderson. We are at deuce. 24-24 the score on the board, and a timeout taken. Another one. This has been a timeout-riddled set and match, and it's been an exciting one. We're at 2-0, but 24-24. This is how this match has gone. We'll see who can get 2 when we return on this First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball on mylocalradio.com.
My name is Dr. Micah Pullins. I'm an orthopedic surgeon at Evanston Regional Hospital. Orthopedic surgery is the practice of medicine centered around bones and joints. It's all about movement and activity and getting that to be less painful. Watching a patient with a specific problem, whether that's pain or decreased range of motion, and being able to treat them, by far the best part of my job.
Set point number 3 for Lyman coming out of the break after giving up back-to-back scores by Bear Lake. 24 all on the board, and no longer set point. We're at deuce. Pardon me. Try to get a point to get to set point number 3. Instead, it's set point number 1 for Bear Lake, upcoming with an ace serve off the left deltoid of Mandy Air. 25-24. Serving for the set winner is Sharp. And the match winner as well. Dump set by Walker. Sharp with the first touch. Bear Lake goes to Gunderson. Through 3 blockers. And Bear Lake thought they had it. They were celebrating, but Lyman sent it back over. Try it again. And Gunderson with the winner. 26-24. She had to win it twice in one rally. But Chelsea Gunderson, towering above everyone on her team, comes away with the winner. 26-24. Lyman nearly comes away with their first set of the 2019 campaign, but that will have to wait at least one more match. Back with post-game coverage next, live from the Cokeville Invitational on mylocalradio.com. This is a First Bank presentation. Do you like following your Mountain View and Lyman athletics when you can't make it to the game? Well, we love bringing it to you. Hi, I'm Jake Hibbard, voice of the Mountain View Buffaloes and Lyman Eagles, and I've been traveling around the state of Wyoming and covering high school sports for the better part of a decade. Whether it's covering a big culminating event at the Casper Event Center, calling a tightly contested Mountain View-Lyman game, the greatest rivalry in this state, or kicking back and enjoying the views at one of this state's many hidden gems like the ballpark in Cowley, Wyoming, there's a few things I always see. There's officials trying their hardest, coaches sweating it out on the sidelines, and there's always a ton of support for these athletes from the entire community. MyLocalRadio.com would like to take a moment to thank all of its sponsors for making today's video coverage possible. Without all of us working together, none of this could happen. If you would like to support our future video broadcasts of Lyman and Mountain View sports, there's a few ways you can let us know. The first is, you can call our home office in Evanston, Wyoming at 307-789-8116 and let them know that you would like to know more about how you can become a sponsor of Bridger Valley Sports. The other is, you can just come up to me before or after a game and ask for more information. We've got a lot of different tiers of sponsorship and we'll find the perfect one for you. We would love for you to join the MyLocalRadio.com and Bridger Valley Sports family and help us continue to bring these games for years to come. That number again to call for the Evanston office is 307-789-8116. Or just come up and see me at one of the games and let me help you help us. And remember, go Eagles and go Buffs.
If you love them enough to relearn math so you can teach them math, then surely you'll check nhtsa.gov/the right seat to make sure they're correctly buckled in the back seat.
Welcome back to the Cokeville Invitational. Match 2 is in the books, and Bear Lake comes away with a 3-set sweep over the Lyman Eagles. The first set was Bear Lake's from the get-go. They led it 6-2 when Coach Hansen took a timeout, and then an 11-point run, the best of the day for Lyman, and maybe of any team that I've seen. They took a 13-6 lead, and they thought, oh, here we go. It's all turned around, but that's about the time that Bear Lake started to come back as well, and it was a game of runs, both teams going on them throughout the contest. It was a 3-set sweep, but this was a much closer contested contest than what we saw earlier this morning. And one thing that you have to like if you're a Lyman Eagles fan is you did not see any give up out of that team late in the third set. So the first set ends up 25-23, as close as it can get. And there was a couple of those this match. The second set, not a close one, 25-14, 7 straight points as Lyman had climbed back to get back into the contest 18-14. And then Bear Lake just went on that run, did not allow a point of Lyman's for 7 straight and closed that out. Lyman was down, oh, let's see. It was sitting at about 7. It was 17-6, or excuse me, 11-6 at some point, 12-6 early on, and then Lyman started to crawl back. They ended up tying the contest at 21 apiece, and then actually took their first lead in the 20s of the 2019 season, 22-21. They got a couple more points and had their first set point of the season at 24-22 and then 24-23. Both of those points went the way of Bear Lakes, and in fact they closed out with 4 straight points to win at 26-24. So a straight set sweep, but Lyman with some things to look forward to and maybe a little bit more consistent showing than we saw in the morning, and then they can get a little bit more, just get over that hump, get a set down maybe in the late game tonight against Campbell County. Then we say, well, this JV turned varsity squad from a year ago to this year, well, they're headed in the right direction. Chelsea Gunderson, she's a talent. No question about that. At the Bear Lake side, they had a couple of big hitters, and none bigger when, especially in crunch time. Gunderson came up huge for the Bear Lake Bears. That will do it for us. For this second contest, we will be back between 8 and 9. We might be working ahead here. It's only 5:15, and that penultimate contest was scheduled, the JV was scheduled to start at 6:30. It's only 5:16 right now, and we are about 5 minutes away from the start of the JV contest. So maybe in that contest that we were thinking we were going to be playing at about 9 o'clock, it might not be 9 o'clock. It might be 8 that we're getting ready for that contest. So keep your eyes open, keep your eyes peeled, and if you are listening and you want to keep up, you can go on Facebook, mylocalradio.com. I'll try to do this with the tournaments. I did it with this one a couple of minutes before we go live in case you're not looking or in case you're not on it. I'm going to post, say, hey, here's the stream. We're going live soon. Go ahead and tune in. I'll try to do the same for that Campbell County one. Shouldn't be too difficult. All it requires is, of course, me remembering that I just said I would do that. But as long as I can keep that intact, then we should be able to keep ourselves up to date on when Lyman plays again. Again, Mountain View, I believe, playing right now over against Rich County. Well, not against Rich County, against Preston, I think. And then up against Evanston at the 6:30 contest scheduled. So I think the auxiliary gym is a little bit behind our court. So all of those games are also on mylocalradio.com through our affiliates today. So all 6 Bridger Valley games are on the air in the Cokeville Invitational. I'm Jake Hibbard, and we'll be back let's say about 8 o'clock tentatively. Hey, maybe we'll have some more volleyball unless this one goes very, very late. We should be getting on a little ahead of schedule. Thanks for listening. This has been a First Bank presentation of Lyman Volleyball.
The preceding has been a wholly owned production of mylocalradio.com and Cook Brothers Broadcasting, no portion of which may be used or rebroadcast without the express written consent of Old West Media. Today's executive producer is Val Cook. We appreciate you tuning in to this mylocalradio.com exclusive of Lyman Eagles Athletics. We would like to take a moment to thank all of our sponsors and partners who make this all possible. And of course, thank you for tuning in. Check out our website for more information about future Lyman broadcasts, or like us on Facebook to stay up to date with the games. Until next time, go Eagles!